I've got great examples. Jason is one of them. He'd just done his first deal, which was a 19 million revenue steel fabrication business. He's now at 50 million of revenue. In fact, he is one of our most successful masterminders in terms of scale and numbers. Hello, good morning, everyone, and welcome. This is Jonathan J. The purpose of the next 40 minutes is for you to get to know me and for me to get to know you, because I know that it's a big step sometimes for people to take from watching some videos, maybe listening to my podcast, and then deciding to push the button and work with us. So I thought that this would be a useful way for us to have a conversation about your goals, your aspirations. I can maybe give you some guidance, no charge. I'll just help you with what I can help you with right here, right now. And any other questions that you might have, just fire away and we'll be able to have a conversation about those. And I do know in the last 12 months or so, there has been a proliferation of people on Instagram and TikTok telling you they'll teach you how to buy a business. Now, I bet you anything, they won't be there next year, but people don't know that. So I wanted to show you that we've been doing this this is our 9th year, and I'm a real person, and you can have a conversation with me before you do anything with us. So we've got a really good number. So I was just chatting there just to fill the time because I could see people coming through every few seconds, which is absolutely brilliant. So let me just look at the participants list again, because I think I recognize some of these names. Oh, Callum, I recognize your name. Callum, you've just joined us, haven't you, last week? VIP, if I remember correctly, if you are the same Callum. Let me just see if there's any other names that I recognize. Good morning, Jamie Lee. Yep, we've got a few more. We've got Mark. Yes, Mike, recognize your name. Ola, recognize your name. Phil. Yeah. Oh, Stephen. Hi, Stephen. Stephen, your inner circle. You surely have had your fill of coffees with me with me so far. Valerie, recognize your name. Sunny, recognize your, yeah, brilliant. Okay, so I've got some familiar names on the list here, which is brilliant. So the purpose of us at 35-40 minutes together is for you to ask me anything. Now, if you haven't got anything to ask me, then this is going to be a very, very short conversation, and our coffee will still be hot by the end of it. So I'd be very, very interested to know where you are in your business buying journey. So let's find out who's just started, who's actually talking to business owners at the moment, who's at heads of terms, who's done a deal even. So send me a quick message in the Q&A and let me know where you are. So are you just starting? Are you at heads? Are you speaking to owners? Have you completed? Just send me a quick message in the Q&A box. If you all do this, as many people as possible, please, don't leave it to everyone else. Then that will give me an idea of where you are. So Joanne Morgan talking to business owners, that's fantastic. So Joanne, when you say you're talking to business owners, how many? Is this face to face? Is this on the phone? Give me a little bit more detail to go on there, would you? Jason says just starting. I think probably, Jason, most people would be in the same camp as you. Phil says ready to start soon. Thinking of a buy and build in the grounds maintenance landscaping sector. Okay, is that your background, Phil? Is that what you do at the moment? Again, give me a little bit more information as I ask these questions. Callum says just starting. I've never acquired a business before. I know, Callum. I know that you've just joined VIP, so I know that you are at the beginning of your journey. Lloyd just starting as well. Daniel says someone pulled out after 6 months. Heads of terms signed. I think the seller was a fantasist. Okay. Seeing one this Friday, spoke on phone, seems quite a good deal. What I would say, Daniel, is that when you say someone's pulled out after 6 months, why did it take so long? Because if you've got a process to follow, you should have done that deal in 3 to 4 months. 6 months is a long time to waste your time. I agree. That must have been really, really very, very frustrating, actually. Oda says, hi, Joe. Well, it's kind of Jonathan, Rod, and Joe, but okay. I'm new here. Completed the quiz. Um, didn't hold. I don't know what that means. So let me know. Um, let me know what is needed to be able to jump in and start buying businesses that can generate profit. Yeah, and that's what it's all about. Uh, we don't buy distressed businesses. Distressed businesses have a very high failure rate. What you want to do is to be buying businesses that make money so that when you buy the business, it was making money before you bought it, is now making money after you bought it. And Mike says, I'm familiar with your podcast and content, but not buying businesses for myself. Okay. I have a VC fund, but thinking of the future, I have a VC fund. Okay. But thinking of the future and doing for myself one day. All right. Tell me a bit more about that, Mike. Tell me what your plans are. Harold says, I found a few businesses. I'm talking to a few owners on Zoom. All right, well, can we just stop right there? You don't do that. Please do not talk to owners on Zoom. All right, that is should not be your first contact with the owner of a business. Found one that's interesting, but it's a franchise. Run as fast as you can. It's a complete waste of time. Don't bother, Harold. Franchises, waste of time. Look, you've got your money's worth, even though this cost you nothing at all. You got your money's worth already there. Mark says, bought a small business last year as it was a supplier to my existing business. Now that's a smart move, Mark McHugh. So listen to what Mark McHugh's just said. He said he bought a small business last year. It was a supplier to my existing business. Buying your supply chain, if you have an existing business, is a very, very smart move indeed. All right. Mark, we should be talking to you about the inner circle group, a group of people who've all bought at least one business. What typically happens is when people join the inner circle group, the acquisitions increase in size and in number and in volume. They do more. So we should have a chat with you about that, Mark, because you'd be good for that group. Daniel says, very true. I was naive. This was Daniel who said, I think it was Daniel who said it was 6 months. Yeah, this is the thing. And certainly, yeah, well done on getting as far as you did, Daniel. But what I would always say is that you don't know what you don't know when you're starting, and you can waste 6 months and actually be no further forward. And let's face it, none of us are getting any younger, are we? Yeah, it's time. The clock is ticking, and if you've got your own personal retirement plan, maybe to retire by a younger age than most people do, 45, 50, which means that you can enjoy active. I was at Lake Windermere this weekend and did a lot of walking. And at one point, I thought, why am I doing all this walking? And then I thought, you know what? In 20 years' time, I might not be able to walk. And when you think like that, you think, no, I'll do all the walking now. I'm not going to complain anymore. So you don't want to waste 6 months of your life not knowing what you don't know and just sort of using trial and error. I get that. I get that. Phil says, no, I think it's no. I have. Phil says no. I've run a few business finance brokerage. We do quite a bit of acquisition funding. I'm confident I can start soon. Brilliant. Do you know what so much of this is? It's confidence. It's self-belief and confidence. And if you've got self-belief and confidence, that takes you a long way. However, can I just tell you the flip side of the coin? The flip side of the coin is you need knowledge. You need to know what you're doing. Because if you don't know what you're doing, you're a bluffer, you're a blagger, and that's no good. You need to combine the confidence with the knowledge because you will soon be found out if you bluff it, because the seller's the seller's accountant most likely is the one going to be able to tell you don't know what you're talking about. All right. So I'm all for the confidence, but we've got to combine it with the knowledge. Otherwise, you've only got half of the puzzle, if that makes sense. Talish says your business buying strategies PDF is amazing. Thank you, Talish. Is that that's my book, I guess, right? Business buying strategies. You can get the book off the website. So if you haven't got a copy of my book, go to dealmakers.co.uk. It's free of charge. If you're in the UK, this is a physical book, by the way. If you're in the UK, we post it free of charge as well. We don't post it outside of the UK. But we'll post it to you as a gift if you would like a copy. And a lot of people prefer, I prefer physical copies rather than PDFs, to be honest. I've got bookshelves, I've got thousands of books, and always have done. It's always been reading has always been a big thing in my life. So go to dealmakers.co.uk. Across the top, there's a tab. I think it says free stuff or something like that. And you drop down that, and you'll see the free book. Just fill it in, and we'll pop one in the post to you this week. Okay. Right, Talish, back to your questions. I've done one meeting in person and another one with some other business owner next month. They have agreed for deferred payments, and I want to fund the deal with revenue payout. And I'm not sure. Oh, I think I know what you mean. Okay. Please advise. All right. Okay. This would be my advice. And this is, I'm speaking to Tavish, but I'm really speaking to everyone here. Is that what I would say is that if you've watched my videos and everything, you probably think that buying a business is getting some asset finance for your day one consideration payment and then deferring the rest over 3, 4, 5 years. Because that is said a lot across a lot of videos across a number of years. It doesn't really work like that anymore. It's not as straightforward and as simple as that. The market has matured over the last few years, and you won't be able, we might, but it's highly unlikely that you'll be able to do a deal as simple and as straightforward as that. So the I mean, I'm told that people really enjoy my videos and my podcasts, and we put a lot of effort into them, and I hope you enjoy them. And if you do, let me know if you enjoy them, and if you don't, let me know if you enjoy them. If you don't enjoy them, and tell me why, and we'll try and fix it. But the the thing is, there's only so much you can say in a podcast, and I have to be mindful that my clients, my mastermind clients, are paying for knowledge and advice. So I'm not going to give that away free. What they paid for, I'm not going to give away free on the internet, because that would just be ridiculous. And all my clients would be complaining to me saying, Jonathan, we've just paid for that information. You've given it away free on the internet. So what we give away free on the internet is is vanilla. All right. If you imagine an ice cream shop, I went into a lovely ice cream shop in Windermere yesterday, and I had what did I have? It was a coffee and walnut ice cream. Now they had some really delicious flavors. All right, coffee and walnut ice cream, quite an unusual flavor. You don't see that in every ice cream shop. But imagine that every ice cream was vanilla. Right, that's what you get if you just follow the advice on YouTube and podcasts. What we've got in Mastermind are all the different flavors. There's more than one way of doing this, Talish. But well done on taking action. I like that. That's good. Taking action is the key to everything. Phil M says, I've been following you for a few years, and I've been to your event in Richmond. I think I'm at the point where I can get going. All right. Well, Phil, that's brilliant. I don't know which event in Richmond it was. I've done quite a few because I live in Richmond, so I do a lot of things in Richmond. What I would suggest you do is on your screen, if you can see that, dealmakers.co.uk/clarity. I would book in a 10-minute clarity call today, tomorrow, preferably today while it's on your mind, and just have a chat with one of my team. No obligation, but what it will do, it will help you sort out the options, because we've got some different things now. If you looked at what we did like a year ago, we've got new things now that weren't available a year ago. So just do that, Phil. Have a chat with either Jamie Lee or Jeremy today, and they'll be able to help you get you focused. Joanne says, do you have my emailed question? I don't actually, Joanne, because I don't, I'm not sort of in the office. So why don't you just ask it here? You didn't need to email it, to be fair. You can just ask it here, Joanne. No problem at all. Harold says, I know you don't support franchise businesses. Well, it's not I don't support them. I think franchises are great, but not if you want to buy a business. But this one's different. Okay. Which is why I was hoping to get your thoughts. Tell me how it's different, Harold, because I need that bit of information before I can help you before I can help you any further. Hi, Alex. How are you? I recognize you. You were in Mastermind 2022. I seem to remember. I'm just reading through your message here. Um, yeah, Alex. Okay, that's interesting. Now just remind me, you're not in the UK, are you? I don't think. I'll come back to you in a moment, Alex. I just want to make sure I'm speaking. You are who I think of because it's 2022. I've met a lot of people since 2022. So yeah. So Joanne's question that she's now just written here is, and by the way, if we do one of these in the future, this is a one-off. I might do it again next week. I don't know, but this is a one-off at the moment. Um, just write the questions in the chat box while we're doing it, like everyone is. You don't need to send them in advance. Joanne says, trying to locate businesses which are not in the UK. Okay. Joanne, are you in the UK? You're looking in Europe and you get mostly brokers. Well, we know that we need to avoid brokers, right? For your first deal, a broker deal is a bad one. It's never going to work for you. But Joanne, just tell me something. Where are you based? Where are you based? Joanne says brokers are disasters. Yeah, I know. So Joanne, where are you based? You said you're trying to buy businesses in Europe. So where do you live? Oh, you live in Spain. Right. Okay. Fantastic. So you want to buy businesses presumably in in Spain, right? Well, Joanne, it's exactly the same process as if you were in England buying businesses in England. Our deal sourcing processes don't change. They are fundamentally the same. A few tweaks, depending on certain factors, but fundamentally they are exactly the same. But we'll come back to that, Joanne, if we got time today. Harjinder, hi Harjinder. Um, oh, yeah, that's a good question. So Harjinder's saying, what percentage of people after 2 years buy a business? Well, the average time actually is 6 months. So I don't know where the 2 years comes from. I mean, this is adult education, so we're not sort of we're not using a track and trace here. You remember track and trace? We're not using track and trace. So we're not following people around and just making sure they're doing stuff because people have businesses, they have lives, they can get started immediately. They take a sabbatical, they take the summer off because the kids are off on holiday and that sort of thing. So there isn't like a scientific process of being laid out here where everyone has to do something at a certain time. It's not like school where you start at the beginning of the year, you work your way through the terms. It's more flexible than that, which is what adults appreciate because you've got businesses and you've got jobs and you've got your lives. What I would say, Harjinder, is that every single person who follows the process buys a business if they put the effort in. And there is some effort involved. I mean, anyone who will tell you on Instagram, it's get rich quick, you don't have to do anything. Well, they're not entirely telling you the truth. You have to put the effort in. Now, I've got great examples of, I mean, Jason is one of them. He was on Mastermind in 2018. So what's that, 7 years ago? And he disappeared for 4 years. Didn't hear anything from him for 4 years. So, was he successful? Was he not successful? He just disappeared for 4 years. Don't know. And then he came back again and he joined our inner circle group, which is people who've already bought a business. And he'd just done his first deal, which was a 19 million revenue steel fabrication business in the northeast of England. And actual fact, coming back to Joanne, he was living in Marbella. He was living in Spain with a baby at the time. His wife had just given birth to their first child, so he was running it all remotely. He's now at 50 million of revenue. Now, I wasn't going to count him. I mean, using your 2 year stats here, Harjinder, we'd have said, well, he wasn't successful. In fact, he is one of our most successful masterminders in terms of scale and numbers, but he disappeared for a few years. So there isn't a hard and fast answer to that. Sonny, hi Sonny. Says, hello, if contacting businesses and or conducting Zoom meets. Oh, sorry. Okay, let me start that again. If contacting businesses and or conducting Zoom meets are not the best way, how does it work if you live abroad? Telephone. Talk to people on the phone. It's as simple as that. Now, you will need to meet people face to face at some point. I have had clients do entire deals on Zoom without ever meeting anyone, but that was actually during lockdown when they couldn't meet anyone. They couldn't travel, they couldn't do meetings face to face. Yeah, I like Zoom. I use Zoom a lot, but for your very first contact with the owner, let's make it a phone call. You don't need to go beyond that. Phil says, "Great, thanks, Milt." Oh yeah, that was Phil. So you booked your clarity call. That's great. Have a chat with one of my people. Tell them what it is you want to achieve, and they'll give you all the options. By the way, that's open to anyone. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, I want to do this, but I'm not entirely sure of the way forward, then dealmakers.co.uk/clarity is a great way. It's a new thing that we've just started doing, by the way, where you can actually have a conversation with one of the team to get some clarity. Now, there are a couple of criteria. You've got to be serious. It's not just a chat about, you know, what you did at the weekend. This is a serious business conversation. And you've got to have some serious intent, and you've got to like what we do. I mean, if you don't like what we do, then there's no point. We can't. We wouldn't be able to. You wouldn't want us to help you anyway. Daniel says, would you recommend a smaller business for the first acquisition? To get experience in the same sector, obviously. When I say small, I mean one about 500,000 turnover and around 5 staff. You're probably buying yourself a real pain in the neck there, Daniel. Something with 5 staff. It's just it might work, but I wouldn't be betting money on it working. You're better to go with a better business. And let me just see if I can think of an analogy here. It's like buying a Is it like buying a rental property? Maybe that's not the best analogy. But look, Daniel, buying small businesses are fraught with problems because they're typically so reliant. Once the owner's gone, that relationship has gone with those 5 staff. And all it takes is one person to leave, one person not to like you, and you're down 40%. Do you see what I mean? My answer actually, if you're pushing me to give you a yes no answer, should you do it? I say no, I don't think you should. I don't think you should buy a smaller business just to get started because it would be so hard to buy business number two when you're struggling with business number one. So Alex says, yes, I'm based in Dubai. Of course, I know exactly who I'm speaking to then. We actually had, now correct me if I'm wrong here, didn't we have a coffee in, which hotel was it? Was it the Sofitel or somewhere like that? We had a coffee, didn't we? My business partner is based in the UK. Oh, right. Okay. And he's visited 5, 6 companies we've acquired. Alex, I know you were a mastermind in 2022, but are you still joining our mastermind, um, monthly mastermind Zooms where it's just for mastermind people? If you're not, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get Maria to send you an invite to, like, I don't know, like the next 3 of those. Okay. And then that will get you back on track, and we can help you a little bit more. Okay. Because I think you just need. It sounds like you're doing everything right. It's just maybe a little bit of focus. And it could just be one thing that you're not just doing. You missed one element of the puzzle. Because buying a business is like a huge jigsaw puzzle. We got to put all the pieces together. If you're missing a piece, you'll never get there. All right. So Alex, let me make a note of that. Let me make a note of that by doing that, and then Maria will send you, and we'll get you. We'll help you with that. No problem at all. Happy to do that. Um, oh, Alex says I haven't been joining the monthly mastermind meetings recently. There you go. Look, we've got a great support network, but you've got to use it. You've got to use it. If you're not using it, then you're going to be missing out. Okay. So next is Harold. Oh, this is the franchise question. This is for a restoration company that strictly deals with insurance companies. Okay. The franchise is given a territory. Sure, that's what franchises are. And whenever a claim comes through, it's given to the appropriate franchise, pending their territory. Exactly. There are 3 staff on hand. Remember what I just said about 5 staff a moment ago, but the majority of the work is completed by hired trades. The EBITDA is very healthy. Now, you told me earlier, Harold, that your franchise business that you're looking at was different to other franchises. What you've just described is exactly the same as every franchise. I know a bit about franchising. I had a business that I franchised into other countries like 20 years ago. So I know a little bit about this. So what you've just described there is not different to any other franchise, and my advice is the same. Stay clear. Avoid, avoid, avoid. You can't change the name, you can't change the marketing. You pay a percentage of your revenue up to the franchisor. You only work in one territory, so there's no opportunity to expand unless you buy another franchise. Basically, a franchise is a job masquerading as a business. That's what it is. A franchise is a job masquerading as a business. It's not really a business, it's a job. So, Harold, sorry to disappoint you, but you've got to steer clear of that, please. Graham says, I can attest that if you don't put the effort, you don't get there. I'm coming back after disappearing for 18 months. Graham, I recognize your surname because it's an unusual surname. I recognize your surname. Good to have you today. By the way, if you need a little bit of help, bit of clarity around how we could help you, or maybe even what your direction is. We've got lots of different things. We've got Mastermind. We've also got a 3-day live training. Have a chat with one of my team about that. Just go to dealmakers.co.uk/clarity. It's up on the screen for you. Book in a time for today. I think there could be a few times for tomorrow, but just book in a time and have a conversation. Oh, by the way, don't ghost Jeremy or Jamie Lee. Please don't ghost them. If you book it in, turn up because I think that's important. Have a chat. Well, I think it's important. I think it's very important. Have a chat with either Jamie Lee or Jeremy. Have a conversation with them, and they'll be able to point you in the right direction of what you need to know. Reno says, excuse me, are you doing the Australian Business Acquisition Mastermind this year? Well, we do Mastermind in Australia, Reno, but I think what you're asking me is, am I doing a live event over there? No, I'm not. I mean, we're kind of running out of year already. We're entering August and then it's going to be school's back and before you know it's going to be Christmas. I might next year. I never say never, but I don't actually have any dates booked in at this stage. Um, uh, right. Now I'm going to try and pronounce your name, but I know I'm going to get it wrong. Is it Chioki? Says, can you give us introductions on how to do the buying a business in Canada? Also, yeah, we've got lots of mastermind clients in Canada. We have mastermind clients in just about every country in the world. So we have people very successful in Canada buying businesses exactly the same way as people do it in the UK. So if you're thinking about doing mastermind, but you holding you back because you're in Canada, there's no reason for it to hold you back at all. So book a call in with one of my people, and they'll have a chat with you about that. So Sunny says, "Thank you. I'm based between UK and India." Hi Sanjay. Oh right, you're on Mastermind already. Brilliant. Wow, you've done loads. That is fantastic. All right. So right. The one thing I would just help you with, Sanjay has done. It sounds like you've been on Mastermind for just a short time, but you've done loads, which is brilliant. But you're talking to brokers now. Maybe you haven't got to the module where we say don't talk to brokers. You haven't got that far yet, because you're saying I think both businesses are overvalued. Do I make an offer on my calculations? Right. You say you're on module 5. Do all the modules before you do anything else. Sanjay, please do all the training before you do anything else. Because, first of all, you shouldn't be speaking to brokers for your first deal. It will just mess you around and so forth. You're right when you think that they're overvalued. That's what brokers do. And you don't make offers. You absolutely don't make offers to buy a business. You don't do that. But I think you're such an early stage of the program, you haven't got to that bit yet. So Sanjay, do all the training first and then go back to brilliant. Well done on taking the action. But get the knowledge first, otherwise your action will be running ahead of you and the knowledge will be catching up. Okay. So Harold is talking again about the franchise. He said the franchisor always contracts with the insurance companies and competition is limited. Yeah, that's not the point I'm making, Harold. I'm sure the franchise is a great business, but it's not a great business for you to acquire. It sounds like I'm not going to be able to change your mind on that. So do with it what you will, Harold. But look, if you are a mastermind, you'd realize this very, very quickly. Um, Mark says, what about buying small businesses and combining them into my existing business? Uh, every single mastermind client who owns a business is doing exactly that, Mark. Buying other businesses and combining them into their existing business and making their existing business bigger. 100%. And you should be doing the same. Have a chat with one of my team on a clarity call. Book in a clarity call, Mark, and have a chat with one of my team about that because we can help you with that. Hi, Callum. Um, Hi, Callum. Once we start the mastermind program, yeah, I think you only registered with us on Friday. Is that right? Um, yeah, well, everything that you get, Callum, is laid out for you. We're going to have a kickoff call for you on, I believe it's on Wednesday morning. Is it Wednesday? I need to check that, but I think it's Wednesday morning. But Maria will have already been in touch with you about that. If she wasn't on Friday afternoon, it'll be this morning. And I'll tell you all about that on our kickoff call. Okay. No problem at all. So Phil says, right, this is quite a long one. Quick further question, if that's okay. Well, I wouldn't call it a quick question, Phil. It's the longest question I've been asked. Been asked this morning. Says, let's say I find a business. Okay, I can release the initial consideration through asset invoice finance and agree to pay the rest over 3 years. Remember what I said though. That's kind of old hat now. There are far better ways of doing it. Just so you know. How much should I have set aside for all initial fees? Zero, nothing. All professional fees are paid for by the company that you're buying once you bought it. Okay. So it doesn't come out of your pocket at all. So you don't need to set anything aside. Um, oh, right. Sorry. I should have read the rest of the message. Perhaps the legal fees can be deferred. No, we're not deferring them. It is standard practice to pay those fees on completion. Now, if you go and find a lawyer on Google, they will want money on account, which means basically you have to pay something in advance because they don't know you. You're a stranger to them. They're a stranger to you. The chances of you finding a good lawyer on Google from just looking at websites is very, very slim. Those of you know, I'm speaking maybe to Callum, who's just joined Mastermind on Friday. What you might not realize is that we've got a great deal team. So the deal team that we have won't want money on account. Okay, so just so you know. So Phil says, I think you've said that before. So let's say it's a 1 million revenue business. How should you say I should have in reserve to cover any other fees? Oh, well, I think I've just answered that. I do understand that I'll be able to, I do understand that I'll be able to pay myself a deal fee after the transaction, but what should I have set aside? Okay, really, you've asked me the same question. I get it. Yeah, so the answer is nothing because it's being paid out of the business that you're buying. Now, you might then think, what if the business that I'm buying can't afford the legal fees of the acquisition? Well, let me tell you the truth about that one. You're buying the wrong business. If the business that you're buying can't afford its own acquisition legal fees, then you're buying a business that's either too small or it's not making enough money. Okay. Harold, by the way, my comments about franchising, he hasn't taken it personally. He says, appreciate it. Thanks. So thank you. Thank you, Harold. Graham, thank you to you. Oh, Graham says, thanks. I did not think it was for Mastermind. Oh, Graham, are you're on Mastermind, right? So I've got to scroll back to find out what your question was from earlier. There's been a few since. I'm coming back after disappearing. Oh, so Graham, I recognize your name, but maybe I recognize your name, but you're not on Mastermind. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Neil says, morning. I'm in real estate rentals and development. Just work for myself with my wife. We outsource the building work. Okay. I'd like to start buying businesses. I'd like to get 5 million to 10 million EBITDA with inside 18 months with a management structure. All right, stop right there. Neil, it's not going to happen, which is probably the opposite of what you wanted me to say. You are not going to get 5 to 10 million pre-tax profit after 18 months. I'll tell you a more realistic timescale in a moment. What industries would this work with? Ah, right. So you're not going to stick to what you know. So real estate rentals. I would stick to what you know. I was looking at domiciliary care, not the most exciting. Maybe manufacturing. Right. Okay. Oh, there's so much in this message. This is brilliant. Neil, we're not looking for exciting businesses. We're looking for businesses that make money. And when a business makes money, that is exciting. Do you see what I mean? It's not about yippee. I have this exciting business. The exciting bit is when you check your bank account. And then Neil goes, maybe manufacturing. I'm open to ideas. What's your thoughts? It is completely unrealistic if at this stage you don't know what type of business you're going to buy to say that you're going to get to 5 to 10 million. By the way, 5 million and 10 million, and we're talking about pre-tax profit, or Neil's talking about pre-tax profit. One number is double the other. So let's make our mind up here. Is it this number or is it the one that's double that number? It's a big range. In 18 months, it's not going to work, Neil. It's not going to happen. Now, can you get to 1 or 2 million EBITDA in 18 months? Yeah, very likely. You've got to think about this. There's going to be a learning curve. If you're going to buy in a business that you have no experience of, there's the learning curve of that business. And then there's the learning curve of learning how to buy a business. Now, I can hold your hand through the entire process. That's what I do with people all the time. I'll hold your hand. I'll make sure you don't make silly mistakes. I'll look after you. Okay. I'll make sure you don't sign the wrong piece of paper and lose your house. And someone who was not on Mastermind, I hasten to add, that happened to them. I found out about it afterwards. He sent me a message on LinkedIn and said, "You told me to join Mastermind when we had a chat. I didn't listen to you. I thought I could do it by myself. This is my current situation." He lost the family house because he didn't know what he was doing and he signed the wrong piece of paper and it all went horribly wrong. And by that time, it was too late to help him. It was too late to save him. But Neil, realistically, if you don't know what sector you want to buy in, getting to 10 million of pre-tax profit in a year and a half, yes, by the end of 2026, is just not going to happen. Have a chat with one of my people, okay? And we'll help you get clear on what you could do. So dealmakers.co.uk/clarity if you want to have a chat with one of my people. That's the follow-up, by the way, to today's session. Right, loads more to do. Hi, Joanne again. As this is Joanne in Spain. I was negotiating a deal with a company, and the main owner slash seller discussed it with his top people. I was negotiating a deal with a company, and the main owner discussed it with his top people. Okay, he had to do this because they also owned some shares. Actually, he probably didn't have to do that because a shareholders agreement would give the majority shareholder, which sounds like the person you were talking to, the right to drag the other minority shareholders on a deal. Imagine this. Imagine this. You own a business and you own 90% of it. No, let's make this an extreme example. You have a business, you own 99% of it, and one person owns 1%. One of your top people owns 1%. Okay. And then you decide you want to sell the business, and the sale is blocked by the person who owns 1%. That would just be ridiculous. You own 99%. You can't sell your business because this person owning 1%. So probably he didn't have to consult, but I'll let that one go for the moment. As soon as they heard about it, they decided it was a good idea to buy the company. Hang on. As soon as they heard about it, so this is the management, they decided it was a good idea and they wanted to do the deal and convince the main owner to sell his shares to them instead of me. Okay. So basically, the owner had a chat with his management team. His management team said, "Boss, can we buy the business?" And that's what's happening. my response, Joanne, and take this in the way that it is intended, is kind of, so what? Who cares? Move on. Next one. Why does it matter? If we all cast our minds back to when we were younger and we were dating people, okay? And you go on a date with someone, and within about an hour, you're thinking, no, this isn't for me. All right. What happens? You don't stop. You just go on a date with someone else. And you're probably not talking about that one that wasn't for you years later. I see this sometimes with new business buyers. They talk about the deals that don't happen rather than the deals that do happen. And that means that they kind of, I'm not saying this is you, Joanne, but some people get kind of sucked into the negativity of the things that didn't work rather than saying, well, who cares? Move on to the next one. What you need, Joanne, is deal flow. You need to be speaking to lots and lots of owners. The more owners you speak to, the better the results that you will get. Now, let me just see. Um, Graham says, "What if I beg you to do the Aussie one?" Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a long way to go just because someone's begged me, Graham. Um, right. Let me just see here. So Daniel's responding to what I was saying earlier about buying the small business, and I said to avoid it. He says, my logic was just to get one, so it would give me the credibility for the next one. No, Daniel, you're not on Mastermind, are you? I have got a whole methodology around creating credibility that does not involve you buying a small business and tearing your hair out, which is what you will be doing. He says it makes total sense what you are saying. Danny also says, and you wouldn't get a solicitor involved for heads of terms, obviously, will you? Well, not obviously. I mean, you don't necessarily need to. It depends on the size of the deal. If it's a larger deal, then I would have a solicitor at heads of terms, yes. Um, Aman says, do you get access to the deal team on the foundation program? No, on our 3-day foundation program, you get what it says you get on the foundation program. So no, my closest contacts are only available to my closest clients who are my masterminders. Philip says, amazing advice, thank you. I'm not entirely sure what that advice, what that was, because we've done a few since then, but thank you very much. Reno says, for an asset purchase, can a newly formed SPV with no existing cash flow, because it's an empty company, assets obtain financing, such as asset-based lending? You're, uh, you don't need to, because the SPV is not getting the financing. There you go. Simple, simple, simple answer. Yes, Chioki, we've got deal team people in Canada as well. Graham says, yes, I am. You mentioned clarity. Yeah. Oh, by the way, if you're thinking about working with us in some respect, or you need some help to buy a business, then book in a clarity call with one of the team today, for this afternoon or tomorrow, this morning, this afternoon, or tomorrow morning, or tomorrow afternoon, and have a chat with us. Okay. Harjinder says, should you buy a business near you so you can keep an eye on it? Is it acceptable to buy a business far away? Well, if you've got a choice between two businesses and one is a long way away and one is close to you and everything else is kind of the same, I would be going for the one close because I don't want to get on an aeroplane every time I want to go and say hello. It just stands to reason. It's like it's convenience, isn't it? And I want your life to be convenient and not to be stressful trying to do a dozen things at the same time. Okay, I've answered everything that everyone's put here, which brings us up to the top of the end of the session at 9:45. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been great. Shall we do this again? Just send me a quick message if you think we should do this again. Just send me a quick yes if you think we should do it again, or a no if you think no, it doesn't have any value and this isn't something we should do again. Um, uh, yes, please, as Harold. Yes. Yes, been brilliant for sure. Thanks, Jonathan. Yes, 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 exclamation mark. Absolutely. Okay, all right. No no's so far. If it's a no, I don't mind. You can tell me if you think, yes, we should be doing it again. Thanks. Okay, great. Got the message. Those of you who want to take the next step and do something with us, then go to dealmakers.co.uk/clarity. Have a no obligation conversation with one of my team, and we'll give you the options of what you could be doing next. Well, thank you very much. Have a great day, and I will see you again. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now. Bye. Bye bye.